honestly, while filming, even I didn't know where Bella began and Ananya ended, honestly, because I was really, really into it. Because I think also it's a series, so it gave us the opportunity to really dive into the character. A lot of prep went into it as well, even though it may seem really easy. It was actually very tough because there's comedy and there's timing and there's all these long monologue dialogues that she's saying super fast. So there was a lot of prep involved in it.
Good evening. This is Manjusha Radhakrishnan, and I'm the entertainment editor for Gulf News Dubai. And today we have a very interesting and a promising talent from Bollywood called Ananya Panday. And today I just finished watching actually her series called Call Me
You
Bae.
finished? How much did you see?
I saw the whole thing. We got the screeners. This is
Okay.
one series where I kept watching it, and you did a fabulous job. Let me tell you. Wait for my review. And it's so interesting to see a series. I'm done with dark series dramas. It's so good to see something like Legally Blonde meets Schitt's Creek meets Clueless. Perhaps you should tell us, Ananya, was it as much fun to play?
Yes, as you said, I'm also a huge fan of this genre. I've grown up watching these kind of films, and it's been my comfort. It's like comfort food. I always go back to it if I'm having a bad day, or if I just want to just sit in bed and eat a tub of ice cream. These are the kind of films that I go back to. And honestly, personally, I can never have enough of this genre. And I feel like, as you said, constantly, at least right now, things have been slightly dark, the kind of content we've been seeing. And I'm a fan of that as well. But sometimes you need, like, a breath of fresh air and a real sunshine and just a feel good thing to watch, which sometimes also leaves you with a message, but not in a very, sort of pushy way. So,
Right.
yeah, it was as much fun, if not more fun, to actually play the part than, when you watch the series. I had a great time because the character is super up her energy, and she's upbeat and happy and positive and all things lovely. And even if as Ananya I was not having the best day, when I became Bae in those 12 hours, I couldn't think of anything else but Bae's world. So honestly, she saved me in a lot of times.
I have to say, Bella Chaudhary, at many points, I was like, is that Ananya Pandey or is that Bella Chaudhary? There were so many instances where I feel even you come from a privileged background, which you have accepted in the past. But I was wondering, where does Bella Chaudhary start and where does Ananya Pandey end? Did that come across to you?
Honestly, I think Bella and I are more different than we're similar, because even though I come from a privileged film family, my family life and upbringing has been very different from hers. She's uber privileged. Like, she's literally born with a golden spoon, and she's from South Delhi. And, she's had a kind of life where her mother prepared her to be the perfect daughter and then the perfect wife. And, everything was planned out for her. And in that way, my life was very different because my parents always wanted me to be whatever I want. I've grown up in a very liberal home with all working women, in the house. So I've always been a hustler in that sense. But with Bella, she was treated very differently because she's a girl, and, her brother, being a boy, was given a lot more opportunities than her. So there are more differences, I would say, even the journey that she goes through in terms of coming to Bombay, meeting all these people, finding her purpose. And then there are also, of course, some similarities in terms of, I think, her kind personality or her people pleasing personality or the way she uses humor often. I think those things are similar with me and her. But honestly, while filming, even I didn't know where Bella began and Ananya ended, honestly, because I was really, really into it. Because I think also it's a series, so it gave us the opportunity to really dive into the character. A lot of prep went into it as well, even though it may seem really easy. It was actually very tough because there's comedy and there's timing and there's all these long monologue dialogues that she's saying super fast. So there was a lot of prep involved in it.
It is a very well written, very smartly written show, and those are very rare. I mean, the comedy is so difficult as well, and also it had a pulse on what's happening in the world today. It talks about Me Too as well, which is, I mean, art is imitating life and vice versa, I feel. Did you feel like, this is one show where there's also a sense of purpose? It's not just about your clothes, but at some point there's activism in it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the beauty of the show, that even though it starts off and it always maintains its light and breezy tone, it still really at the end of the day is saying something and it's standing for something. And I feel like as a young actress, sometimes I feel helpless because I don't know, what to do. I don't know where and how exactly to use my voice. But then when I'm able to do that through my work, if I leave behind work that actually aligns with my personal beliefs, for me that's like a win-win situation. It's killing two birds with one stone, literally, for me. So that's how I felt about this show.
More importantly, I want to talk to you about the sister code that exists in
Yes.
this show. It is so beautiful to see so many young women come together and they're not warring with each other. There's no pettiness, that tends to happen when girls get together. There's no cattiness, it's more like let's work together, let's get through together. It's
Yeah,
not easy in this world. Did you find that very refreshing as well? Like it
I
was very
did.
endearing to watch you guys.
I did because I feel like whenever they show, women in films, they're always serving as a prop to the man, or they're always talk. If there are two girls in a scene, then they're always discussing a man or fighting over a man or talking about a man. It's always about servicing the man. And I felt what was really different about this was that it wasn't like that. There were actually just girls supporting each other. And honestly, in real life, I have only seen the most beautiful female friendships. So then to actually have something like that portrayed on screen, I think that's a really good example to set and to show, because it's real and it's honest, and that's how it is today, and it's always been like this, but we haven't seen it enough on screen. Yeah, it's the girls are supporting each other and giving each other tips, and no one's fighting for space. They all create their own beautiful space. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel each character needs an offshoot. It can go in tangents as well.
Yeah, and even though the show is called Call Me Bae, I think it's a proper ensemble show. Every character
Perfect.
has its own arc and their own journey and their own subplots going. And I don't think Bae would be Bae without the people around her.
Right. Other than Bay, even I feel the men are not bashed. I
They're the
feel they
allies, yeah.
this is marketed as a very fun thing, but it also deals with a very grim subject. Do
Mhm.
you think, at any point where you telling the makers as well, we have to be very sensitive about how we deal with the twists that come later on in the series?
I think it was all actually there in the script. I didn't have to make anyone aware of that, because I feel like with Dharmatic and with Colin and Karan and Apurva So and just Prime Video also, honestly, with everyone involved, all the stakeholders, they're just the right people, I think, to tell this kind of story, because they all have that sensitive bone in them and they know how to kind of deal with a topic like this. Probably the reason we haven't been discussing it in promotions is because the show unfolds like a mystery. So
Yes.
I think it would come across more of a spoiler, and that's why we're not talking about it as much. But I think the way that it's dealt with in the show is probably the best explanation that we can give.
Right. I have to ask you, did you feel very safe being on a set? I ask every woman this. Did you feel
Yes.
safe? Was it a very conducive environment where you went to work feeling protected?
I did because in our contracts there are a lot of clauses in place which protect women, and even on our call sheet there was always a helpline number if anyone wanted to complain anonymously against anyone if they were feeling uncomfortable in any situation. I want to speak about Veer Das. He's
Yes.
such a gentleman. Even Varun Sood, I'm talking about specific scenes, but Veer Das had a scene with Lisa in the show where he had to just hold her arms, but he was very, very polite, and he kept asking her if she's okay with with him holding her shoulder. He was really good about that, and I think that's really important, for men and women, honestly, for people to respect other people's personal space, and just consent basically is very important. And I also had a scene with Varun Sood where he kept making sure I was comfortable. So seeing more of that on set, it gives you hope as a young actress.
I have seen you grow as an actress. I think I've spoken to you for every release. And what I loved is your performances. I have to say, there's been leaps and bounds. I mean, you can do comedy now. Well done, you. And I'm really saying this from like a good place where I think you are doing right. You're doing well. Was that tough as well? Because there are many memes done, etc., about Ananya. Can she act? To yes, she can act, and then people apologizing for actually asking you whether she can act. It's
Yeah.
been a cycle. Finally, do you feel that people are finally taking you seriously? And with this, I think they will. But
I
I-
hope so. I mean, I think first I used to feel very bogged down by it and I used to constantly feel like I should say something. But now I've realized that your work speaks louder than anything. And I felt that more than ever after Kho Gaye Hum Kahan with the love and the appreciation that I got. And I'm hoping the same thing happens with Bay. I really challenged myself here because, as you said, I've done the comedy in this one. Whereas in Dream Girl 2 and Pati Patni or Wo, I was mainly reacting to the comedy. In this one, I have my own punches and my own comic timing that I've sort of figured out. So I hope people enjoy that as well.
Let's talk about the fashion, of course. Love the clothes. I think the stylist, I want to raid her closet. Do you get to keep the wardrobe? Are you going to auction the pieces? Like, tell me more about the fashion. Like,
I
how fun
actually
is it?
I actually think that creating like a bay line or something, that's what I heard. I think people will be able to get their hands on these pieces. I know Anaida Shroff and her entire team, Sabina, everyone has done such a great job at, thrifting and, getting all these vintage, old, classic
Yes.
brands. There was a lot of raiding of Karan Johar's closet also. What my favorite part about and when I talk about fashion, I'm also saying the hair and makeup department because all of them, make the look with Nidhi doing my hair and Shraddha doing my makeup. It was all a complete teamwork when it comes to that. But what I like about the fashion in this show is it starts off a certain way. When Bella's in Delhi, she's in these plaid sets, those typical Blair
Yes.
Waldorf looks with the
Very
hairband
Blair
and
Waldorf.
everything.
You're right. Yeah.
And then when you see her move to Mumbai, she actually becomes a lot more experimental with her fashion. She takes things from her friends from Mumbai, the people at the hostel, and her roommates and everything, and she kind of finds her own personality with her clothes. Because when she was growing up, her mum probably dressed her every single day and told her she needs to look perfect. But when she gets to Mumbai, her everything becomes bolder: her hair and her eye makeup and her accessories. So actually, her clothes are also going on a journey with her.
Excellent, excellent. I have to ask you this. Do you have a great rapport with all your co-stars, or do you need to have a rapport with your co-stars where you guys are spending so much time together
Yeah,
in a series? I'm assuming you
yeah.
guys look like family, but do you need to be family to have a great scene?
I don't think it's a necessity, but I think the person that I am, it happens with me, because I'm going to be on set with the same people for so many days. I just end up becoming friends. But especially on this show, I think more than ever, I think Koga Hum Kahan was also similar in that way where we all actually became friends. And I also think on this series, we all actually became friends to the point where Colin had to like separate us and make us sit in different rooms because we couldn't stop laughing and we couldn't stop talking to each other. And even now, whenever we're promoting, even though we're with each other for so many hours, even in the lunch break, we still sit together and we make plans to go out. So I didn't think we'd all bond so well, but we've actually ended up bonding.
I know you grew up on a staple of Gossip Girl, Clueless, etc. Who is that one character that kind of defined you? And when you were wanting to be an actress, you're like, you know what? For me, it's always Clueless. Alicia Silverstone, I think, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that.
Alicia Silverstone, Cher, and Clueless.
Yeah.
For me,
Yes.
I think it's Geet from Jab We Met. Uh,
Oh.
love that performance. It's such an underrated performance, also, especially in the second half of that film, the more vulnerable side of hers. When that song, that Aoge Jab Tum Sajna, I think she just looks stunning and beautiful. So yeah, I would say Geet from Jab We
You are one of the few, I think, actresses who've done really remarkably well. Do you think that? I mean, when you look back, you started with Student of the Year too. Now it's like life has come full circle with Karan Johar again,
Met.
etc. Do you look back on your own journey? Do you assess your growth?
I don't consciously, look back too much, but sometimes you'll see something on Instagram, someone will post like some video from Student of the Year, and suddenly I'm like, oh my God, I was such a baby. But I'm really grateful for my journey and everything that's happened on the way. I don't think that I would be the person or the actress I am today if, everything didn't go the way that it went. I wouldn't want to change the journey for anything else. And honestly, I feel like I'm in a new chapter now as an actor because I feel like I'm doing a lot more meaningful parts now. I'm doing a lot more challenging parts. And, as a young actress to be headlining a show is a huge deal. And then I have Vikram Aditya Motwani sir's Film Control coming out again, where I'm playing the titular character. So for me, these challenges right now, doing meaningful work is very gratifying as an experience.
I love the fact that you make fun of yourself as well. The trailer has already revealed it, where perhaps something that you had said about privilege became a meme. Well done, you, for taking one for yourself, I guess. I don't know. Is this your way of just saying, listen, just everybody calm down?
I honestly agreed to it because I felt like it went really well with Bella as a character, and it fit really well in the scene. And generally in the show also there are lots of pop culture references, and there's a lot of,
Sure.
the show is very self-referential and self-aware.
It seems so seamless. For me, I'm like, this came to you naturally. This is what you do for a living. This is you.
No, it
And
was, it's
that's
a,
a great sign for an actor if you believe it, if you
thank
think that's
you.
the person.
I think
So
finding the humanity in her, I wouldn't say was challenging, but it was the most complex part, doing, because she's obviously doing really out of this world stuff, and you may term it as ridiculous, but I, as Ananya, could never judge her for that. I couldn't ever, make fun of her. I had to completely believe that, okay, she's a girl that talks to her bags and she talks to her fridge, but how do you make her real and likable within that? So even though that was a challenge, it was also, I think, the best part of the character.
I think you've done a fabulous job with the series.
Thank you
I
so
think you
much.
headlined it well, and I can't wait for the second season. Is there anything on the works? Yeah, do you guys get feelers? How does it work?
I mean, the way the show ends when you watch it is on quite a
Yes,
cliffhanger. So
yes, it
hopefully, I
does.
think we're all hoping for it, because I know me and all the characters would love to come back, because we've not finished, we're not done, we're all missing our characters and being on that set. So we hope that people love it enough and want a season 2.
It's great talking to you, and it's also great to see you grow. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for
Thank
entertaining
you.
us.